Welcome back to the year 1985 as we continue our look at the m.a.s.k toy line by Kenner. Previously, we learned of m.a.s.k, the mobile armored strike command led by the benevolent Matt Tracker, and their battle against Venom. Venom, the vicious evil network of Mayhem, is led by Miles Mayhem, the one-time partner of Matt Tracker who killed Matt's brother Andy and stole half of m.a.s.k's tech for his own nefarious schemes. And today, we'll be taking a look at Miles Mayhem and his vehicle, Switchblade, here on Creed's Collection. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Creed's Collection. Today we're taking a look at Switchblade from the 1985 toy line m.a.s.k. Miles Mayhem, the included pilot figure, is the main villain of the m.a.s.k storyline. So he is basically the equivalent of Megatron, Skeletor, or Cobra Commander. Like all m.a.s.k vehicles, Switchblade has two different modes, a civilian mode and an attack mode. Here we're looking at its civilian mode, which is very obviously a helicopter. And there's a lot to look at here, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at Switchblade. Right away, I want to point out how much I like the canopy glass and the shape of the front of the vehicle. I think it's really nice design work. And while we're up here, here's a closer look at the interior of the vehicle with the canopy up. And here's a reverse angle of it so you can see the front as well. One of my favorite things about Switchblade is it's a futuristic looking helicopter. It reminds me of a cross between Airwolf and then the coloring of Blue Thunder. And I'm sure that's not an accident, as they were both really popular helicopters in the 80s. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a closer look at Switchblade's features. So on the right side here, there's a button, and this is actually used for turning the rotor. When you push it in like so, it makes the rotor spin around. And while I love this feature, I think the button is a little awkwardly placed, so I didn't really use it much as a kid. Now there's a switch on the left side here too, but we're actually going to come back to that and look at the bottom first at this missile. Here's a close-up of it so you can get a better look at it. And the switch to drop it is right back here between the skids. Right here. So now let's go ahead and test it out. 3, 2, 1. Holy okay. Let's go ahead and transform this sucker into jet mode. You want to start by taking the rotor and flipping it over, lining it up with the back, and then pushing it down until it snaps into place. Now you want to flip up the rear tail fin and make sure that the peg goes between the rotor hole, and then when it snaps in, it pops out the wings, which also pops out the guns, right there. Now you want to pick it up, and on the back of each skid there's a button. Go ahead and push that, and it pops out more hidden weaponry. Now you take the skids and fold them up underneath the wings, and there you go. Fully transformed into a jet, armed to the teeth and ready to take down m.a.s.k. As we take a quick 360 look at it in jet mode, I just want to point out that not every m.a.s.k vehicle looked good in both modes, but holy crap does Switchblade look good in both modes. It's a super amazing helicopter, it is a super sick jet. My only complaint is that it's a vehicle that just stays in the air. Most of the other vehicles would transition between two different things. Like Gator, for example, could do land and sea, or Condor could do land and air. Switchblade can only do air, which is a mild letdown, but it makes up for it because both modes are awesome. We already took an in-depth look at it in chopper mode, so I'll just take a quick look here in jet mode, as the details aren't really different. Now I'll take a quick look at some of the damage to the toy. There's not much, but right here there's a little bit of vac metal chrome that was worn away from my finger always resting there. And for some reason the sticker's a little chipped up. But beyond that, the toy looks pretty good and displays really well. Here's a quick look at the copyright date. It's on the bottom of the tail, 1985, made in Taiwan. Now before we move on to the Miles Mayhem action figure, we're going to take a look at this switch on the left side and the whole reason it's called Switchblade. Yep, the switch makes the blades pop out just like a switchblade knife. Now it's time to take a look at Miles Mayhem, the included figure and leader of Venom. He wears a blue military uniform, although I'm not sure why because I'm not aware of him being in any military branch. And he also has the Viper mask, which shoots corrosive acid. You know, as a kid, I didn't pick up on it, but as an adult, it's pretty obvious that the guy is wearing a blue military uniform, he has a mask that looks like a cobra, and he's the head of Venom. Kenner was definitely trying to cash in on the popularity of G.I. Joe and Cobra Commander. And now I'll take a quick look at M.a.s.k figures' articulation. They have bendable knees and hips. They have bendable shoulders, and their neck is on a swivel. And that's it. And now for our He-Man size comparison. M.a.s.k figures are about half the size of Masters of the Universe, but they've never really been about the figures. M.a.s.k was about the vehicles and the gimmick of transforming from one thing to another. Everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy review for Switchblade from the 1985 toy line M.a.s.k by Kenner. I remember going out of my way to get a hold of Switchblade as a kid. I saved up my allowance, begged my dad to drive me to the nearby town where the store was, and then purchased it myself. It was quite a bit of money at the time, but I'm glad I did it, because looking back, both the toy and the memory, at least to me, are priceless. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I review a toy for my vintage collection every Wednesday, so I hope to see you next week and every week after, here on Creed's Collection.